Hello, this is Soteria with my first instructional video for Dragon Age 2, the Ogre outside Lothering. This boss really doesn't have to be too hard. The key to the whole fight is avoiding his attacks as much as you can. Basically, you want one person to be constantly running away from the Ogre, while the other two people focus on killing the smaller darkspawn. As is typical in Dragon Age 2, you have two waves in this fight. Around the time you kill the second darkspawn, the second wave spawns. And this is probably the hardest part of the fight right here. The main two things you care about are protecting your mage and making sure that whoever's getting attacked by most of the darkspawn is not the same person that is getting attacked by the Ogre. In this case, I have Bethany being attacked by the Ogre and Aveline fighting the darkspawn. You could change who's doing what, of course, but I think it makes it a lot easier to keep those two roles separate. At this point, you're really not worried at all about damaging the Ogre. He takes way too long to kill, and it's just easier to reduce the incoming damage by taking out all of the little guys first. During this first part of the fight, you're really only worried about two attacks from the Ogre. The first is what you see here, where he gets down and gets ready to charge you. The other ranged attack he uses is when he bends down to pick up a rock and throw at you. Both those are really easy to avoid, and even better, they can be used against the enemy. If you can just get him lined up right, he'll trample his own soldiers or throw a rock and crush him with it. It's always good times as long as you can avoid the rock yourself. After you down all the regular darkspawn, you're ready to move on to the Ogre. This part is pretty hard to lose as long as you pay attention to what's going on. The Ogre has two basic melee attacks. The first is really hard to avoid. It's just a basic swipe that knocks down whoever his current target is. The second attack that you really want to keep your eye out for is when he'll leap up into the air and smash the ground, knocking everyone back around him. To avoid taking damage, you can either use a stun on him or run out of melee range when you see him using that big attack. As long as you can avoid that one, you should be fine from here on out. Now, if you're playing on normal or casual, you really don't need to do this, because Aveline can basically solo the warrior as long as your other two party members take care of the little guys. Now, I did have to use a couple health potions. Hopefully if you're on one of the hard difficulties, you did save some for this fight. If you didn't, it's not the end of the world, because you still can do the same thing that worked in Origins, which is just run around with a mage, pausing to use staff attacks every once in a while. That's really all there is to it. If you feel like there's another video you'd like me to do for Dragon Age 2, feel free to send me a private message and I'll look into it. Otherwise, thanks for watching.